All right, Joe, we're going to look at the side view first. 5-step approach, absolutely fine, no issue. We're not changing that. Okay. So there is more good than bad in your game. Okay. That being said, I think you're using too much upper body muscle. You're helping your swing around. Okay. Footwork, not too bad. One of the worst things you could ever do for your game is to physically try to slow your feet down. Okay. And the only bad thing about having a little bit quicker feet is, and it's only when you bowl badly, people say slow down. Okay. Really crappy advice, by the way. Because a free swing is quick. We need quick feet in the match. Okay. You do fight get the ball and swing maybe a hair early, and you fight kind of pulling your swing up. So you fight a quick swing. You can imagine the worst thing that would happen to your game in relationship to a quick swing is slow feet.
Right.
Okay. When people say your feet look really fast, what they're really saying is you might be getting the ball in the swing too early, causing fast feet. Okay. At the finish, I can definitely see a lot of muscle motion going on. See that your follow through stays low.
Yep.
It actually requires muscles to stop your arm low. So that's a result of using muscle. Sometimes when the upper body goes over, kind of forward, that's a result of kind of helping or pulling, and then it's hard to get the follow through up. The other thing we're going to work on with that finishing position, we're going to get that back leg to be in a little bit better motion there. You're keeping it right behind you and your toes stay pointing right. And then that keeps everything more square to the foul line. That can cause pull shots. So let's go into the motion here in the stance. In the stance, a couple things I would change. One, I would bring this right foot up a little bit.
Okay.
Okay. The other thing I would do, I'd move the elbow back. You got the elbow toward the front of your side. That's usually where we want it at the end of your push right on step 2.
Okay.
So you're kind of starting there in your stance. Yep. So we'll move it back to where it's a little bit more under the shoulder. Okay. Now we're going to compare you to a really, really kind of free swing here. Let's see. Let's use this guy first. And we're going to get you a little bit more in that position with your stance. Just the elbow below the shoulder. And when you bring the elbow back, the wrist kind of even with the elbow. The wrist cup, that's kind of a personal preference.
Yeah.
We never want you to stay that cupped in your swing. Okay, but if you like that feel, that's fine. Okay, so we'll have the elbow back a little bit. We'll bring that right foot up to about the arch.
Okay.
Okay, on step 1, arm should not move. Okay, you're pretty good on that, I think. On step 2, we have the arms move out, but it doesn't move out much. It started out there. But see how you're almost locked with the ball about belt level. Okay, we don't need you to lock out. Okay, and if anything, at the end of the second step, the ball came down below the belt. He's not going to move on step 1. And on step 2, the ball's maybe belt level, but he's not locked.
Right.
Okay. So for your height backswing, you might be getting the ball swing a hair early. I think a lot of it is just your setup. You start with the elbow forward.
So already here.
Yep. Now, and these two pictures here, they're not that different. If you look at that wooden rail, it's maybe a half a ball difference.
Right.
No big deal. On the next step, he lets his ball fall into the swing. It gets just past his leg, kind of below the butt.
Right.
On your next step, that toe just touching there. Your ball passed his by a ball.
Yep.
You're starting to pull. And notice your step is smaller than his. You think with a smaller step, the ball would have less time to move. Your ball will move more with a smaller step. Okay? Sometimes if you're pulling the weight backward, it's hard to have the momentum to keep walking forward. Okay? But once you're done with the push, where you have to convince your muscles to be lazy and let the ball swing, you're making your ball swing. Okay? On his next step, the ball will just kind of fall up into the backswing. Top of the backswing at the end of step 4. Okay, your ball goes up on step 4, and kind of similar height backswings. You do throw the ball harder than he does with a similar height backswing. But notice they just got there differently.
Yep.
Okay. At the finish, one, you're a little bit more stretched out than he is. You can see where your knee is compared to the storm sign.
Right.
Okay. So with a couple shorter steps in there, that third step is a little bit short from pulling. Now you're a little bit stretched out. At the finish, we want to see the slide foot come to a stop. Ball come through. Really good body position there.
I know I'm way back in my body position.
Okay.
seems like.
Foot stop, just ball come through. Okay, you don't have to be right in the top of the foul line. You come up a little bit short, maybe because of that shorter third step. But big difference if we get him to the top of the follow through. See their hand come above the head.
Yep. And
That's the top of your follow through.
pretty
It
straight.
actually requires muscle to stop the arm. Okay. Look at the back foot position. Your toes stayed pointed right. His toes went left. So if you think of a face of a clock, if the slide foot's at 12, right behind it would be 6. You get to about 7:30, 8 o'clock.
Right.
Your back foot stayed closer to 6.
Right.
If the toes are pointing right, it's hard to have the leg go left. Everything is attached. Okay? So I like the fact you're keeping that back foot down, but when the back foot down, toes point left. That'll help close up the gap. Okay? I think your upper body's going over a little bit far.
Right.
So we want more of this body tilt here. If we draw a line up kind of like that. But when the body goes over, that's the result of pulling. If you pull the swing up, you'll likely pull the swing down. Okay. If we watch a really, really free swing, let's look at one of the freest swings ever, something like a David Ozio. Just look how lazy this looks. He just pushes the ball out, no pulling the swing around. He's just relaxed and lazy. He's letting the ball swing his arm's not doing the work.
Right.
Okay. And that's ball speed low 18, rev rate low 300. Okay. So I think you're using a little bit more muscle than he is. Okay. In the stance again, elbow more below the shoulder.
Right. Back here.
So we are going to adjust that stance thing, get the elbow back, get the form a little bit more level. At the end of step 2, you're not that way off on the step 2 position. I'd like to see with your game, elbow at the front of the side, not quite locked. It's about there. You're pretty good if that ball was maybe a few inches higher. I mean, we're talking a couple inches, nothing major.
And most of my movement there seems to be the uncupping of my wrist.
Right. Yep. So, and we never want a lot of wrist cupping this way.
Right.
Okay, that's a very muscle motion if it stays cupped. So you're not off much there. Where you get off is, I think you get quick with the arm in the upswing, right? There, okay? And I think step 3 gets a little bit hesitant. We want you to build momentum as you walk. So you never want slow feet, okay? If we look at the footwork here, again, one of the freest swings ever, but there's nothing really slow with the footwork. See how it starts building momentum.
Yep.
Okay? And then the arm is just loose and relaxed. Look how loose that is at the foul line. Okay? If we talk about a follow through, you should never have to make a follow through. When the ball comes from the top of the swing and leaves the hand, all the swing momentum is still in the arm.
Right.
So if the arm is loose and relaxed, the momentum of the ball swinging, it will carry it right up above the head, has that little bend, and it falls right back down. So in real-time motion, you see he's not making a follow-through. It's a
Right, it's
continuation of a free swing with the ball
Following
leaves the
through,
hand.
yeah.
So you're going to feel a lot lazier. And it sounds easy to be lazy and do nothing and not help. It's a lot of work to not help and do nothing.
Right.
So obviously you're strong in your upper body, but just because you can muscle around doesn't mean you should.
Right.
Okay?
So the same with my golf swing.
And really, golf and bowling are unbelievably similar. Same thing with baseball at bat or softball at bat. Even though all those sports involve a swing with the upper body, it has a lot more to do with the lower body than the upper body. Okay, so in all those sports, it's hard to convince your body that you can work less and get more power.
Right.
Okay, you are doing the same every time. This is a different shot, but I just see you helping your swing around a little bit too much. Okay, if we go to the foul line position here. Now, when that ball's up in the backswing, I'm going to make you a guarantee here. Okay, if that ball falls from here to here, and you don't pull it from this point on, I will guarantee you it will never ever stop behind you and stay there. Okay. Now, the trick is convincing your body of that.
Yes.
Same thing as golf. Don't swing hard or
Right.
swing easier. Sounds easy.
Yes.
Not.
It's
Okay.
not at all.
But I do see a little bit of pulling here. If you watch your upper body right there, see it kind of comes back. That's you pulling. Okay. When the pull of the body goes over, then it's hard to get the follow through up. Okay.
fighting myself.
Yep, exactly. Let's look at the difference in this position here. Oops, wrong thing there. Move him over. And this is a really common position with these high-level bowlers. Follow through right up above the head. Okay. Upper body tilt. You can kind of see the spine tilt where
Right.
you're a little bit more over.
Flat.
Okay. That's a result of pulling. Back foot position. Now this one here with you, this was one of your better shots actually. It went over better, but look at the difference in the back toe position. Your
Right.
toes are still pointing right.
Rather than
Okay. And what happens is, when the toes stay pointing right, it keeps your body weight back. If I draw a line from his butt down, see where that is compared to the slide foot?
right.
Compared to if I do that with you, see that's further back.
Right.
And it has nothing to do with butt size, okay? It has to do with that back foot position. You can see you have weight on your back foot.
Right.
See the toes bent?
Right.
If you think about having the toes point left, your body knows you can't have weight back there. Your body will be smart enough to shift your weight forward. Because if that foot went out and went left there, you'd fall on your ass, basically.
Exactly.
Your body's smarter than that. Okay. But again, if you pull, body goes over, back leg stays back more as a counterbalance. You're like the rest of us, your upper body weighs more than one leg.
Right.
Okay. The follow through, when you relax, it will go up and down by itself. So that's more of a result of a muscle motion. Okay, so we're going to get you to be more lazy. Okay, so that's what we're going to work on from the side view. Let's go to back view stuff. Back view, we're first going to look at step direction, which isn't too bad. There's a little thing to clean up, but we're going to go to swing direction because you do push to the right quite a bit. Okay, so let's go in slow motion. Look at this. Your setup is great. We want the ball to stay in line with the shoulder as you push. You push the whole ball to the right of your shoulder.
It's way out there.
Yep. Hard to feel, not hard to see. If we do a comparison here with one of these guys, when his ball starts coming down, see how much tighter that is?
Yes.
Okay. Now, muscle memory is very strong, and to your muscles, that feels straight.
Yep.
Okay. So if to the right feels straight, straight's going to feel to the left. Muscles don't think you have to fool them. A lot of what we're going to work on with the stance and the push weight, you can actually do at home with a mirror.
Okay.
Have a mirror to the right, you'll see your stance, you'll see where the elbow is. You see the push away that you don't quite lock, elbow at the front of the side, the hand about belt level. From the mirror to the front, you take 2 steps and stop, you want to see the ball stay in line with your shoulder. Believe it or not, when you push right, it makes your misses left.
Just have the figure 8.
Correct.
Kinda.
Yep, exactly right. If you push right, the backswing tends to come left. Let's see what happens here. His backswing stays straight. The backswing came in a little bit, but not a crazy amount. But right there, bumped back out.
Yep. Let's see.
Goes from in to out, and that can make you bowl lots of shots.
Right.
Okay. So we can straighten that out by just having you feel it like the push rate goes left. Okay. And that's something you have to work on with the visual, because when you push actually straight, it feels more crooked. Because right now you're pushing crooked, but it feels straight.
Right. That feels good, and then I'm
Correct.
going to do here, and I'm going to go, man, that felt weird.
Exactly. And then it's hard to say that felt weird. That's what I want, unless you can prove it. Okay. So we'll work on that a little bit also. Footwork wise, not too bad. Usually want this second step to come in slightly. Yours can come in a little bit more. And what happens if we go back to his, you see how this comes in? That clears a little bit more of a slot for the ball to swing under the shoulder. Okay, that's
I
not
think
that.
that part may be because I the way I line up at my address too. I don't.
Well, yeah, your heel is back behind you a little bit. We could move that right foot up a little bit actually. And we talked about from the side, you bring that right foot up to the left foot arch.
That might help me a little bit.
Yep.
With that.
Okay, and it's pretty close. The main thing for the back view is that push rate directions. Okay, now let's go to hand motion and release. And I think this will look pretty close. Here we'll see how you push to the right also with the close-up view.
Right.
Because that's how much of the ball we should see throughout your push away.
Yep. There's the whole thing.
Yep. So we could almost fit another ball in here. Now hand position wise, You're on the back side of the ball. Now, pretty much on the inside. Is that intentional to have the fingers on the inside?
It has been, yes.
Okay. To not turn early?
Yeah.
Okay. You gotta be a little bit cautious with that. The
Okay.
reason I say that, if I just hold my hand palm up, so the fingers would be kind of in the center of the ball, and I relax, nothing happens.
Right.
If I try to have my fingers way on the inside and
Yep.
then I relax, it actually snaps back to where it could have been. Okay.
Last year, particularly around nationals time, I was actually the other way.
Okay.
I was almost more suitcasing the
Okay.
ball, and so I think I've maybe overcorrected.
Right.
As a,
And you're close at the release point. A little bit of early turn. Not much, but just a little bit. If that's right before your thumb comes out, here's the center of the ball. Okay. If we look at one of the pros here, and keep in mind we're compared to some of the best and the freest
Yeah.
swings in the world, so it's really brutal comparison. But this is why they're so good.
right.
So he's just maybe a hair on the inside, but not way on the inside.
I think it was
Doesn't-
Rick Steelsmith's path that I saw on the Facebook page. It
Uh-huh.
was like, wow, to be able to actually put
Right.
that many shots
Exactly.
back.
Pretty
close.
good.
That's what makes you.
So he's a little bit more on the back side.
Yep.
So the fingers will go from the center through to the right half as the thumb comes out. So right there, the thumb is now out. Your fingers are about there with the thumb in. So then when your thumb does come out, the fingers move less because they were already there. Okay. When you come off the side of the ball, the revolutions that you get are a little bit less effective, less powerful down lane. You're really quite close on that, so I'm really not that worried about it because muscle does promote early turn. And I think you are using muscle.
Okay.
So if we have you relax, that might delay when that rotation happens. And you're only rotating early by maybe 0.3 of a second.
Okay.
So it's not like it's a week early or anything.
Yeah.
Okay. Really quite close. If we look at the back foot position again, you see how the toes stayed right?
Yep.
See how his toes go left?
Yep.
Okay, so that will really help with the balance position. And I'll tell you what, you do get your leg over sometimes, but if the toes stay right, it can hurt your left hip or your left knee.
Okay.
Okay?
And I do occasionally feel some twinges. So.
Yeah. Because what'll happen, I'll stand up and show you this. If my back foot goes to about 7:30 on the Facebook clock, my toes are left.
Yep.
See my hip position.
Yep.
If I'm there, my toes are to the right, my hips get more open.
Right.
And I feel in my left hip and my left knee. Now, if you look at your slide foot's turned to the right a little bit.
Yep.
That takes that pressure off. So it could be related to the back foot position.
Right.
Okay. So you're close on a lot of things. You're not off by much. You're kind of off how I describe it. You're off enough to piss you off. Okay. Because what you're doing is making your ball hook less. And then you see other people's balls hooking. And
Well, I'm not worried about hooking it out of the house.
no, but
You know, I
and
have
I'm not talking about that. But other balls hook better than yours,
Yes.
and they're more effective.
Right.
And then when you try to, if you try to make your ball hook more, it hooks less. So you try to make it hook more, and it hooks less, and that's a bad cycle to get into.
Yep.
Okay. So we're going to get you to work less for more power, kind of like golf, by the way.
Yeah. Exactly.
Apply this to golf, no charge for the golf lesson.
All
Okay.
right. Awesome.
But in both those sports, it's all about timing, leverage, and balance for power. It's not about muscle for power. It's hard for the brain and the body to want to believe that. Okay. All right. Let's stop the disc here.